Alright guys, this is just a little tutorial on how to make a quick standalone mod made in response to this nice person on the forums. Oh, that's weird. That out of the way. Okay. And they say, hey, there's all this cool stuff, there's all this cool information out there, but what I really want is just like a thing, like a standalone mod that just works. Like I know there's tutorials on like how to do like each tiny little thing, but how do I just make something? I just want something that works, man. And their pitch is they want a 5-minute adventure in quotation marks. So I guess it's not a real adventure because it's only 5 minutes. But I think you can have an adventure in 5 minutes. It's single player. There's no character creation process. You play a dude named Bob. He's a level 5 ranger. His only piece of equipment is a piece of cheese, and he has a stench trait. You start in a room with a locked door. In the room with you is a gravestone. You use the cheese on the gravestone. If you use the cheese in your inventory, the only thing you started with on the gravestone, a basket appears. Inside the basket is the key to the locked door. You leave the room. There's a cave entrance outside. When you enter the cave, game ends. So we're going to make that. And somewhere down here, some guy's like, hey, Bob should talk to someone. So we may or may not do that. We'll see. Anyway, let's get started with our standalone mod. Oh, and we're going to publish... Are we going to publish this? Maybe we're going to publish this to Steam. We will at least show you how you could publish this to Steam. Alright, so we make a new mod. You want to depend on main. Can't actually uncheck mains, that's super easy. You don't want anything checked over here. You should probably give your mod a name. That's an important... I'm going to name this Standalone Tutorial. We're going to name it with an underscore in front because I have like a billion mods. But you can feel free to name your mod whatever you like. I'm going to make a new level. And we're going to call this level 1. And just like in the Larian tutorial videos, oops, that didn't appear on the right screen. We are going to make terrain. As far as I can tell, all the base terrains are actually identical. There's two kinds of materials: materials that tile correctly when they're base terrain, materials that don't. And you want to use a material that tiles correctly. What is going new? I've never... Huh. Maybe this got patched? Did it ever get patched? Anyway, well, maybe it's patched. That'd be cool. So we're going to select Farmlands base, but again, it doesn't really matter because they're all going to pretty much look like this. And we're just going to add. Now, Bob, I don't know, man. Bob seems like a terribly boring name. You can name your character. Let's just close all these windows. Don't get in the way. You can name your character whatever you like. Arr. For some reason, the little search box in there by default, you have to either embiggen this, or if it's tiny, you can actually, it drops down, you can search, but I just like it to be there all the time, so we're going to make this bigger. And we could search for a player, and we could like drop in male player, and that could be our Bob, but yeah, that's boring. I would rather play, what would I rather play as? I would rather play as a skeleton. Let's play as a skeleton. Plays a skeleton on fire. We're gonna play as Skeleton Fire Warrior. Oh yeah, check out that dude. That's who our main character is gonna be. He looks hella sweet. Oh yeah. He's got that pike and it's on fire. He's on fire. Everything about this dude rocks. Okay. So, oh, you can't see that because you can't see hotkeys. What we're gonna do is we're gonna open up the sidebar. It's Control B. And the sidebar contains all sorts of cool information specific to the object you're working on. So for characters, it's got like names and scripts and stuff. But if we click on the terrain, we see like a totally different set of stuff in our sidebar. And that's true for like generalize that. Anyway, this guy's name is Charred Bone Pikeman. We're going to call him Santana. Anna? Santana. Well, maybe we're just going to call him Virgil. And the important thing is we want to check is player. And now, guys, our player. We are this guy. And whoever else has his player checked. In fact, we can just open it up and test it, and we can see our little player portrait up here. And we can hear our sounds. But we can't actually do anything because we can't see anything and there's nowhere to go. And in fact, if we close this and look at the AI grid, this is not just movement, but also vision and projectiles. So you can't see anything, you can't go anywhere, you can't shoot anything. So we're going to just generate that. And of course, now it's going to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. That doesn't work at all. What we actually need to do, the way that it generates the AI grid, is it walks out from cedars. So we drop this little AI cedar and says, hey, you can walk here. And then it will go and try and walk, it will walk in every direction from the cedar until it hits a wall. And we don't have any walls. So this will, of course, make everything look hecka nice. And I'm going to save here. You should save here too. And I'm going to show you why in just a moment. We're going to start this again, and it's still going to be broken! And in fact, we're going to go back. And I don't believe it claims this is the grid, but in fact, how can I get it? How can I convince it? Do this. Let's reload the store. Does that convince it to reload? Anyway, my contention to you is this is not. If we close. Oh. That. And reopen the game. Do. We will in fact see, I hypothesize, that our AI grid is not the green one that we claim to have generated, but is in fact... Oh, this is going to break, isn't it? Yeah, that's just going to crash. So, there's this bug right now. I guess I can't demonstrate it. Maybe I just did demonstrate it. There's a bug right now where stuff doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is because... So your mods, incidentally, live in both mods slash your name of your mod. I have standalone tutorial here. And they also live in public standalone. So our problem is that in mod standalone tutorial, this folder, this AI folder right here, it actually doesn't belong there. It belongs here. We have to copy it from here to here in order to get AI grid.data in the right place. And now, start a game. Load our standalone tutorial. It hasn't exploded, that's always a good sign. Maybe this is the point it explodes. Load our level. And look at our AI grid, and it is in fact green. Start it. Ooh. See. We can move. See, check that out. We can walk around. And in fact, if we want to walk around and not see our AI grid, we can do that too. And we can even, can we force attack? Yeah, we can force attack. Aha. Yeah. The life's going well. Virgil's doing well. He can walk, he can see. So let's look at our request. The request, they say, Bob starts in a locked room with a door, a gravestone. There's some cheese in his inventory. So first we'll make our room. We're just going to make... This is not important. This is not important. This is not important. This is important. And we can drop down any kind of wall we want. But I like let's narrow this down to just walls. Walls. And we actually don't have to search for walls if we're just narrowing it down to walls. And let's say he's in a church. Whoa. That wall's crazy. That is a crazy wall. Well, this is... Oh, alright. And, of course, we've all watched the Larian tutorials where they show us how to make sweet walls. And you can probably, in fact, make a better wall than I've made here. But you know what? We're gonna call that a day. And, oh, it doesn't know that. Okay, so that's sort of... Well, I'm gonna make all these walls match. Oh, don't do that. I like matching walls. Sort of. I mean, yeah, that more or less matches. That's okay. Alright. In fact, we save. We start up our game. We realize, hey, we still walk through this because we haven't generated a new AI grid. But other than that, these walls look okay. I mean, they look terrible. They're too tall, and this church is tiny. Whatever. Look, we picked a church wall, and we're sticking with a church wall. And in fact, we now generate our AI grid. Conveniently, we want to make sure our AI is in here with us. It will spiral out from there, and it will run into the four walls and be like, hey, you can move around in here, but there's no way to get outside. You can't walk outside, so we can save, and we can test. Is this gonna work? Wow, that works. Crazy. But the moment we untest, yeah, it didn't save to the right place, so it reloads the AI grid and it reloads the old one. So we have to once again just pop in, grab our AI.grid.data, drop it back in. Here. And now we start the game and stop it, it'll reload and be like, hey, there you go. So, next, we need a door. We click on the wall tool. That lets us click on walls. If we don't have the wall tool, if we have the select tool, then we just get like this whole wall is like a piece and we can around and stuff. But what we want is to be able to click on like little pieces of the wall. Click on a little piece of the wall, and that's actually too big a piece like this. Smaller piece of the wall. And we're going to tell it to create a door. And that door seems... Okay, that's not really implemented, is it? Well, whatever. Textures don't really matter. Spooky door. If this was not a church wall, if this was like a stone wall, that would be a properly textured door frame. So maybe the problem is, can I get rid of doors? Or delete door? Can I combine these? Make that a door? Oh, I can delete door. Delete. How can I make it? Oh wow, something terrible is happening. Something very bad. Oh, okay. Oh, not there. There. Make that into a door. Yes. Ooh, okay. So there's a nicely textured door. You know what? The textures are going to be off. We're just going to live with textures being off. That's just part of the joy of our standalone module. As a do-it-your-own exercise, you can make sure all the textures on your wall. Now we have a tiny little door, and of course we can just walk through that door frame. What we need is to lock it. We're going to search for doors. And there's all sorts of doors. Crazy numbers of doors. Look at all those doors. Dungeon prison. Yeah. I'm going to use a little locked grate. So someone's taken this evil, like, burning skeleton and locked him in this room, in this church, and they're going to come back, and they're gonna like get some priests and they're gonna exorcise them. We want to get out of this room before that happens. So we're gonna put this door down right there. And once again, generate our AI grid. And this time it'll be like, hey, there's a door there. And it'll know you can walk outside, but you can only walk outside. You see the little orange there, and the door is down. And remember, as we do every time we generate AI, we need to grab our AI grid.data. And of course, if you're watching this from the future, you're probably not going to do this because it's probably going to be patched. You don't need to worry about that. But if you're not watching this from the future, if you're watching this from the present, you're going to need to do that. Save. Now, try to walk outside. Can't. Okay. Can. Funny story. Okay, we try to walk outside and we totally can. Because there's a hole in our wall. What on earth? Did we replace that correctly? Did we not save? I think we did not save that correctly. We're going to generate again. Oh, we did save correctly. Just not... It's madness! Okay. The important thing here is we need to make sure our wall connects first. We need to save. We need to generate. We need to save. This really is not as hard as I'm making this look. I'm making this look much, much harder than it really is. We need to grab this. We just made it. Now we saved. Now we copy it. And I made another door. Okay. Okay, this really is not that hard. Okay, you wall, I really need you to not be open. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, save. Generate. That looks good, right? That looks good. There's no more like holes in this wall. None of the walls have become doors. There's no craziness going on. That door still has a little orange thing signaling it's blocking the way. Okay. Good. Excellent. And one final time, I'm going to copy it over. And it's going to work. And we try to walk outside. We can't. It's like, hey, there's no way to get out there. We can open the door, and we can walk out. Close that door again? Yeah, you can close that door. That's crazy. Find the right pixel. Click on. Yeah. Alright. So now we want that door to be locked. So we're going to bring up a little... our sidebar. Now remember, our sidebar let us name our NPC Virgil, but it also... or our PC. Person we're playing as. But it also, when you click on a door, has the handy key field. And the key field, when it's on an object, we'll just lock it until this is the Axeman, Spearman, Skeleton prison. And all that it does is that now the door is locked, unless in your inventory you have the matching. Man, you can't open that anymore. So what we need to do is we need to make a key. In fact, this doesn't need to be a key. In fact, this is a key merely coincidental because every object has this little key field. And as long as it has the matching text in it, having that object in your inventory is locked. Now we go, pick up the key, unlocked, as if by magic. That's pretty awesome. Having the matching, having the matching text, any object that has the matching thing in this key field in your inventory. Let's not check that. We'll open that door. But we don't want to just put the key down. We need, can I set this? reset this. Let's get that key back on the ground. What's the key back on the ground? I don't know how to get that key back on the ground. There's some way to get the key back on the ground. We're just going to close the editor and open it again. So, of course, we don't want that key to just be lying on the ground because that wouldn't be much of an adventure at all. If you just woke up in a room and picked up a key and unlocked it and the adventure ended. That'd be a pretty sad adventure indeed. So we actually want this key. We're going to actually just move it outside the room. And we're going to close these windows we don't need. We are going to put down a tombstone. Why is it just 1 pixel too tiny? Have this by default. We'll see what our tombstone options are. Whoa, we got a heck of tombstone option. That's an okay tombstone. Pretty good tombstone. Ooh. Yeah. Now that's a tombstone. Like this. Yeah, it even has back and everything. We're trapped in this room with this kind of Dark Souls 2 style wraith statue, grave thing, whatever. And where did my PC go? Did I delete my PC? Strange. Ah, stuck in a wall for some reason. That. Also, this wall exists here for some reason. Hope that didn't break anything. Anyway. So now, actually, well, let me demonstrate before I change anything. Let's close all of this. We open up our inventory. You can see, start spear, and nothing else. In fact, this spear, the fact that we start with that spear, we're going to open up our sidebar again. Over here in the equipment drop down where it says, hey, you've got pikeman's equipment. In fact, we just want to change that to nothing. And we'll save. And is this going to work? I'll be surprised if this works. We're going to see if this works. And we still have the spear because the story editor didn't actually, it gave it to us once, but take it away. We actually have to close. And once again, reopen. Play our little elevator holding music while we wait. Thank you to the Kickstarters who backed this editor. Very generous of them. Not for them, this wouldn't be possible at all. And now we can start the game. Indeed, we have no spear. But you say, what about the cheese? Well, now, of course, it's possible to edit these equipment sets. You have to unpack main.pack, and then there's a folder full of finds all these. What does a Wallach Bard have when he starts out life? What does an undead zombie crawler bee have? But here's the important thing: our scripting editor, which we haven't actually done anything with, but our story editor, actually only knows about things that are global. You can't have global things declared in the default inventory. Global things have to be declared they have to live on this screen somewhere. So we are going to actually make a piece of cheese. Why is it so tiny each time? I'm gonna make a piece of cheese. I'm gonna drop it out there. Whoa, that. Stop. I'm gonna drop it. You know what? Maybe we should make a little. Over here in the corner is going to be our little repository. Things that we're going to do something with, but the player is not going to know about. So this is cheese. And the important thing here is we're going to make it global. And we're going to need to change its name. Default, it's named con food cheese A00. Well, that's a pretty, that's how the editor knows it. We want to edit it as starting cheese. And we just pop open the story editor. Make a new script. And we can name the script whatever we want. I'm going to name it with underscores because the scripts are loaded alphabetically. So if we had more than one script, I would want like, this is sort of our like beginning script. We'll even call it the beginning. And it would be loaded first. But it doesn't actually matter because we're only ever going to have one script. So you can call this whatever you want. And we're going to say if game... it doesn't work. Right. By default, it doesn't actually... For some reason, by default, it doesn't know any of the functions. Here's what it like... By default, it knows only like keywords. So we're going to generate definition. And now, it actually knows functions that... Yeah, see, it has all these functions. But it also knows about cheese, about starting cheese, because we made it global. Note that it doesn't know about the Axeman. Remember, if we go back here, we go click on this guy. Although he's named Virgil over here, he's actually still Undead Fire Skeleton Warrior 000, and we're just going to make it here to the story. But in fact, he does not mark global, so the story doesn't know about him. But we check global, save, open up our story editor once more, generate definitions. It now knows about Virgil. Like, hey, do you mean Virgil? Anyway, I'm going to throw a... By throw, I mean not throw at all. If event that... And there's a name for the event that's thrown at the beginning of the game, and I always forget it. So I'm just going to go check my little notes. My little notes are just reading what's in the actual main story file, and you can do that too. And it says if game event set, game event started, then we want to move we don't want to move a character to an item, we want to move an item to a character. Item move to trigger. Item move. Oh, there is no item move to character. Okay. Item. What can we do with items? Let's see what we can do with items. We can check to see if when one is added to a container. We can see if one is attacked by another item. We can see if it can sit on something. These don't seem terribly promising. Surely we can just move an item. I have to believe we can move an item character. We can move an item template to a character, but I don't want to move an item template. I want to move like an actual item that exists. You can't. Maybe it has to be a template. Crazy. Yeah, or you can just do item to character. It's going to put it on the ground or in the inventory. Let's find out. Starting cheese. Virgil. And we just built that. Yes, yes. And we reload our story. Ah, yes, there we go. It's in our inventory. There we go. Now we have cheese. No hitbox on that. Yep. Checking. Okay, you still can't move out of this room. That's good. And Now, the request says when we use the scenery, check can be moved. Is that going to let us put stuff on it? Yeah. Oh, it resets it down, though. Drop our cheese. Put it on top. Oh. So the request anyway is like, hey, I want to, when you use the cheese, the tomb, your key appears in a basket. But as you can see, that by default, there's really no use, and this is actually going to eat the cheese. And we can actually go look at go click on cheeses up here. Yeah, here we go. We can go look at on use actions. Right now it's set to consume. Whoops, get that in the right place. But there's actually all sorts of on use. There's open, close, there's destroy, there's teleport, there's create surface, there's equip, there's story use. The closest we really have to lockpick. Oh. Something that you like click on and then use on something else are like skills, like arrows, like explosive arrows, or that or lockpicks. Inventory. What story use in inventory? Anyway, basically by default there is no use an item on another item. What we're actually going to do is we're going to just see if the cheese is near. And everything's broken. What we're actually going to do is see if okay, it's fixed again. See if the cheese is near the grave. Then we're going to teleport the key to the basket. Is that what we're going to do? Not very exciting. About as close as we can get that. I think. Yeah. Well, you can, of course, you can improvise your own better method. This, of course, this is pretty shoddy, but that's all right. Good enough for government work. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a trigger. We have the wrong type of gravestone. That's the problem. That's the problem. Problem, we have the wrong type of. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a tombstone. I'm going to drop it down. And we're going to make you have to put the cheese on the tombstone. Like, oh, yes. When it is on the tombstone, something will happen. So what we're going to do, first we're going to pick that cheese back. Second, we're going to make a trigger. It's going to be like tombstone. And you might think it's a region trigger, but this is actually this is like a fog of war trigger. So if we put this is actually like we would use the region trigger to like drop it around this room, so when you were inside this room you couldn't see outside of it. What we actually want is just this little old box trigger. And we're gonna make, for once we actually need this. See, here's the outlines of our box. I'm gonna move it up. Oh, oh, oh. Hit control to move your camera around slowly. We're just gonna move it up. So it's not, yeah. So if we drop the cheese on the ground, it won't be in the trigger, but if we drop it on the gravestone, it will be. And because we need our story editor to interact with this, we're going to have to make this trigger global. And we're going to give it a better name than box trigger. We're going to name it top of the gravestone. Now, since we're going to teleport this key in, we're actually going to need to make this key global as well. And like most things we make global, it probably deserves a name. We're going to name it uh, helpful. That's not a very good name. You should come up with better names for your for mine. And note that we're not actually doing anything with the tombstone, just the region above the tombstone, so we don't actually need to make that global. And we're not even going to give it a name. Sorry, tombstone. We could give it a name. We don't need to. Let's name it Larry. So we open up our story editor. Open up our story editor. Yeah, thank you. Now we do a quick generate definitions, and that'll give us all the names of all the things we just made global. And we're going to add another function. We're going to make this a little bigger because it's getting a little crowded, and we're going to say if we have an enter item, enter trigger, starting cheese enters top of the gravestone, then we're going to actually just, for the moment, we're going to call item to character again. This time for helpful key, just temporarily, just to make sure we've got everything working. And because you might think this actually triggers for all items, this actually only triggers for registered items. We're going to register. We're going to register for items. Oh, does that? Well, I don't know what's going on. Let's see if that works. I guess that just registers it for all items. Well, let's go ahead and generate and build and moment of truth. Does it work? No, it doesn't work at all. That's okay. That is okay. I mean, it's bad, but it's okay. Modding is very much an experience about getting things to work. They don't. Let's see what our other options. Oh man, you can register it for a character. Register it for. It only accepts. Okay, we're gonna do something sneaky. We are going to play FX name. In effect, make sure that our trigger is working. Let me consult my note. See what cool effects. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play Airstorm Impact A. Dun dun dun. Oops. That's not how you copy something. Play. Try that again. Airstorm Impact A. Yes. Yes, there we go. Add Virgil. Just to see if it's what part of our trigger is breaking. If it's this part of our trigger, or if it's this part of our trigger. And I suspect it's the up part in the if. But that's why we test these things to find out. Okay, it's the part under the if. So I suspect the trigger really registered. So here's what the other thing I suspect. I suspect time to close our editor, reopen it. Really, the first sign that the very first time things go wrong, the sign you should close your editor and reopen it again, and just do a brief sanity check to make sure, hey, everything's on the up and up. The editor's not confused. I'm not confused. Everything's loaded. Just one last time. I'm gonna drop it on there. Doesn't work at all. Doesn't work at all. This is terrible. Terrible. Real bad. There's that key standing unteleported. Well, that's really not good. That's not good at all. Alright. Alright. Maybe we can do this another way. Why does that... Oh. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I didn't put enough arguments. So this is actually a 3 argument. You can tell how many arguments are, because it says right here, hey, item and a trigger takes an item, trigger, and a mover. And if you don't give it the mover, well, the compiler won't complain. The compiler's like, but it won't actually do anything. Thanks, compiler. I thought you were my friend, compiler. You weren't my friend at all. Now, though. Now. Check it. Bam. Oh, good. Now the second part of our trigger is broken. Well, hey, look, that's heck of progress. Oh, we can do that again, actually. If we want to see that lightning storm again. Boom! Oh, yeah. Boom! Just to confirm, we're not insane. If we put this at the base, whoa. If it travels through the trigger, it's crazy. See, oh, but there it, like, popped up high enough. Yo, physics! Anyway. Anyway. Well, first part of our trigger works. Let's go fix the second part of our trigger. Maybe we didn't give it enough arguments either. No, we did give it actually enough arguments. And in fact, it worked fine up here. Really not work? Oh, it did work. It did work, but keys live over here. Of course it worked. Ah, it did work. Not work. And we can now go open this door. And we're free. Now, the actual request wanted the key to be in like a basket, but that is super easy as well. And you can see we can just make basket thing in this game. We're going to drop it over here with all our other items. Needs to be global because our story editor is going to do something with it. And needs a name. We should name it prison basket. You should really be naming your things better things than I'm naming my things. Prison basket. We don't actually want it. Whoa, don't. I would like to undo that. How did we get to this? Why is everything's broken? Alright. Default, yeah, that's the default. We don't actually want there to be any loot in there, so we're going to go find, uncheck that. More importantly, we're going to uncheck yes, inventory. So by default, we actually want this basket to be empty. We're going to just delete that. And of course, there's a whole, much like equipment, there's a whole thing of inventories you can define. If you unzip write files, modify the write text file. But we're not going to do that. because of course those things can't be global, and we need all the stuff in our basket to be global. So what we're actually going to do is open up our story editor. Story editor. Story editor. Thank you. We're going to generate definitions one last time, just so we can get our prison basket into our story editor. And when the game begins, we're going to just say, hey, I would like item to container. I'd like to move the helpful key to the basket. Here. I wonder if this is going to work. I guess we'll find out. This may actually expect a it expects an item. I don't know. Well, guess we'll figure out. And of course here, we're just going to comment that out. We don't want to actually do that. What we actually want to do, move an item move the prison basket to inside the prison, but we don't have a trigger inside the prison. We gotta go make that. Oh, and bada boom, bada beam. We want a point trigger. Search for point triggers, and this trigger is just a point. Gonna make it global. Gonna give it a name. And that name is basket appears at. Basket appearance. I didn't spell appearance. I don't know how to spell appearance. Basket arrival point. There we go. And now we start up our story. Bada boom. Bada beam. We don't know about the basket arrival point yet until we generate definition. Whoa. Look at all those variables I don't want. Speed, 0. Acceleration, 0. Integer. Oh, this is actually like moving. This is actually like walking the item to the trigger. I don't want to do that. Can I just teleport? Yeah. Yeah. A prison basket. That's correct. There we go. Yeah. And we want it to arrive with a little bit of bang, so we're going to play effect. Right after we teleport it, we're going to play effect at prison basket. That's not how that at all. It's okay. Yeah, that's how that works. And we're going to disable that. Now, we generate definitions and build. Yeah. We actually need to reload our story. So, game event starting stuff. In fact, let's preemptively, we're going to close the editor and reopen it before anything goes wrong. Play your elevator music. Wish for your solid state hard drives to make this faster. Aha! Now, we can see the door is locked. We open up our inventory. We drop the cheese on the ground, nothing happens. We drop the cheese on the gravestone. Boom! With a bolt of lightning, a basket appears. We open up our basket. We grab the key. We unlock the door. And we're free! We're free! Okay. And we're almost there now. We just need to drop. Make a little... That's... Whoa. That's not what I wanted. Anyway, outside church prison, turns out there is a little narrow path. Oh, that's not deep enough. Oh, whatever. Up is almost as good as down. Path. High on one side, slow on the other. Whoa. And that little narrow path leads straight to a cave. Now let's see what we have in turn. Caves. Huh? Oh, wait. Isn't it just big enough to search by default? Cave entrance. Natural. A. Well, there you go. Drop little cave entrance. And we're just going to have this cave entrance teleport you to make a little cave. Oh, boom. Over here, there's a little cave. Spending a lot of time in this standalone mod in tiny rooms, but that's all right. Drop that little cave right there. And do we need a trigger? Yeah, we're going to need a trigger. Because we've got to get into this cave somehow, so we're going to need to teleport. In? I don't know what that did. Oh, that opened this almost entirely useless preview window. You don't need to do that. Don't. Oh, we're going to make this global. This we might actually not need to make global. This trigger, let's see. So there's this actually cool shortcut we can do to teleport whenever you use an object. So one of the onUse actions over here, teleport. We can just say, I would like to teleport you. Select global object. So I guess, yeah, we probably need that. Make this global. Global. Need to give it a name. I'm going to name it Inside the Cave. And also, even though we're not technically in the story editor, we should probably go build definitions anyway. So that over here, oh, thank you. So that over here, don't do that. Over here, we can Alright, things keep appearing on the wrong screen. I don't know why. I don't want them to appear over here. That's where all my capture stuff is. And there we have all the points in the game. There's top of the gravestone. There's inside the cave. There's basket arrival point. We're going to teleport to inside the cave. Apply that. Save. Now. Oh, we haven't fixed our pathing yet. Don't worry about that too. That. Work it all now. Alright. Let's go find the box we forgot to click. Can be moved? Maybe can be moved was the box we forgot to click. Yes. I don't really need you. Oh, that's awesome. I don't think that was the box we forgot to click. Really, that should just work. Have any cool settings? Oh, that's really... Huh, strange. Well, there's actually a, I'm sure, completely trivial, very easy way to get that way to work. That is, at this moment, flipping my mind. What we're actually going to do is we're going to make a door. Are there any cave doors? Whoa. What happened to all my doors? Can I have my doors? Ah, there we go. I'm going to make a door. Somebody decided to put a very nice door on their cave. Ooh, yeah. Doors, unlike caves, are by default interactable. You can see. So it already has... Oh, oh no, come back. Come back. No, come back, door. Ahem. So it already has. Whichever one of these boxes needs to be checkmarked. Checkmarked. And we're just going to replace the unused actions. Door unused action with the teleport. Bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. I need to change that. And teleport to trigger. And you can actually use this notice how this says a level select? You can teleport to other levels this way. There's no reason inside the cave has to be on this level. That is in fact how level transitions work. And I don't actually know how to get that door closed again. I think there is a way. But we are going to solve it like we solve all of our problems by restarting the editor. Alright. Almost there. We start off. Drop the cheese on the gravestone. Basket appears. Grab the key. Run for the door. We open the door. When we make a run for the cave, click the stone door. Instead of opening, the stone door teleports us inside a cave. And we're almost done. All we need now is the trigger that says, hey, when you get inside the cave, and we're just going to use another box trigger for that. Although, in fact, so that I don't have to change 3 numbers, but in fact only 1 number, we're going to change this box trigger, sphere trigger. And actually, to change the type of trigger, you have to click on something and click back on the trigger. This will be in the... I don't really know how big 5 is. 5 is about that big. That's probably big enough. I'm going to say whenever anybody enters this trigger, we're going to make it global. Whenever anybody enters this trigger, the game ends. And since it's a global thing, gotta give it a name. Oh. Yeah. The name is End of the Game. Again, come up with better names for your stuff than I. Do. Open up our story editor. Generate definitions. Yes, yes, thank you. So tiny, why is it so tiny? And you might ask, hey, what are this and this for? And init is for stuff. I think that all stuff in init always runs. We might be able to be putting some of the stuff we're putting in if game started. We might be able to put in init. I'm not sure. And exit, I really have no idea at all what exit is. Maybe someday I'll figure it. But for the moment, I haven't figured out any reason to put anything in exit, and most of the scripts in the story don't. Now, we just need to add another trigger if character enter region. Oh, that should be trigger. Virgil. End of the game. Then the game. Game end. Close enough. Remember, if we want our triggers to register people walking into them, we have to register them. That. Register trigger. Into the game region. Or Virgil. Build that. Yep. And credits play. Aha! We did it! Well, we sort of did it. We actually ignored the part where we make the character level 5 and give them a trait. But let's close the editor. And open up our handy file manager. So what I have done, sort of like a cook turning the oven on ahead of time, is I've taken main.pack and I've unpacked it with Norbite's unpacking tools over here to unpack. And then I had to do it again because there was an update, and that's in UP2. And then again because there's another update in UP3. And then again, finally, in UP4 for yet another update. But this is just the unpacked version. What's in here is just what's in main. So we can open it up. We can open public, main, stats. And there's all sorts of raw things here. All sorts of useful goodies. And what we are interested in at the moment is data character.txt. So we're just going to copy that over. Here we are in our mod. Make sure not to go to, remember your mod exists in two places. It exists in mods, your mod, and it also exists in public, your mod. Make sure to go to the right one of those. And we want to make our folder structure look just like one of the unpacked. So looks like stats, generated, data, and we just copy character.txt right on over. And we open that up. With our favorite text editor, I'm using Notepad++ in a kind of crazy configuration. This is character.txt. This you don't care about. This you don't care about. You guys just want. This is the stuff you guys look at. And in here you can see we've got definitions for all sorts of stuff. Basically every character in the game, their stats. And we want to make a level 5 guy with stench. So we're just going to grab a likely looking already fine set of stats. And I know they're in here because we're gonna search. Huh. Okay, we're gonna search for Ranger. We're actually gonna so the ones with underscores, these are actually not, these stats are just used as they're just inherited by other stats. They're kind of like built upon, but there's nobody actually uses underscore. Well, so there actually is an enemy that say there's a goblin's trap dropper. There's a guy whose stats are according to Goblin's trap dropper. There's a guy whose stats are Goblin's tank. There's a guy whose stats are, all this stuff. It doesn't have an underscore. But if it does have an underscore, the game automatically, you can't assign that. It only goes in this little field. Another ranger. Or goblin rangers. Do we want to be a goblin ranger? I guess you could do worse than being a goblin ranger. Oh, we're just going to copy this guy. He uses human ranger. We're level 5, so we're going to be put our act part 5. We don't actually need any tenebrium skills. That all looks likely enough. We should probably name this Virgil Stats. And we want to give this character Stench. So we're going to grab, the way we do that is we grab talents. And the name of Stench in the game is Stench. That's not true of all talents. Some talents are actually named something very different. Comeback Kid, for example, is named like Rasputin. So you should go check out, there's another folder you can learn all the actual talent names. But fortunately for us, as you can see, some talents are named very sensibly, and Stench is named Stench, and Attack of Opportunity is named Attack of Opportunity. Give him that, which we don't. So we save that. We close our favorite text editor, having done duty. Open Divinity engine right back up. Standalone tutorial. And we open our sidebar. We go to stats. Where are stats? Stats. Stats. We just scroll down. Virgil stats. We start the game. That's not actually, that's going to have our old stats, isn't it? Yeah, it's totally going to have our old stats. The button here is supposed to reload stats. See if it works. No. That's alright. Something's gone wrong and something's going strange. Wrong is such a judgmental word. Something strange has happened in the editor, so we're just going to close it. Open it right back up again. There's probably a way to do this, once again, without closing and opening the editor, but it's such a good, general-purpose solution. Easy to go to, easy to learn. Now, we look at our traits. We have Stench! Ha ha! And in fact, our stats are different too. And we could change our stats. Wanted to. Just a brief sanity check. Making sure everything works. Bam! Drop the cheese. Sure. What happens if we drop the cheese again? Well, that seems alright. That doesn't seem like a sort of critical bug. We grab the key. We unlock the door. We run fast as we possibly can to the stone door. We open the stone door. We're teleported to the cave. We don't even have time to see the cave before the credits begin. Sweet. Now, again, I don't know how to get rid of the credits without closing the editor. So there's one last thing we have to do, and that is generate the AI grid one more time. And I really should have done that before I triggered the credits, so we wouldn't have to watch this. But I didn't, so we are sorry. At least at levels this small seem to load fast. As your level gets bigger and bigger, it takes longer and longer to load. So you get stuff like the main campaign where it's really long. Anyway, got our AI grid. We can see it's not quite accurately reflecting all the changes we've made anymore. Generate it. Make sure to save. Go to the wrong place. We need to go back to mods, main, standalone. Grab AI grid.data. Drop it in the right place. Very much. And it did in fact stick. And in fact, just as a quick sanity check, we can in fact start the game itself. load up our mod. Oh good, it starts at the bottom as an underscore. Well, no one said sorting rules had to be consistent. Note that we just have the default background, but of course, there's a helpful tutorial out there how to make a menu camera, and you can follow it, and it's super easy. And we can replace this background with, in fact, cool stuff. Make a new game. Oh, right. Well, you see the trick. And that is why we sanity check things, ladies and gentlemen. That is why we sanity check things. So we're going to open up the editor for once again. Because we forgot to assign a default level. And so the game doesn't know where to start you. What we got to do, you just got to go under module settings. And we'll set the number of players at 1 while we're here. Set the startup level to level 1. While we're here, we're going to make, just to make our trip here a little more worthwhile, we are going to create a little camera. Cam. Notice that the camera is just a trigger. We can actually drop it in from a root template too if we want. And we're going to call this camera. I think that's its name. I could be wrong. Hopefully that's its. And I'm closing the editor while I do this. You don't actually have to do this. I'll close the editor. There's no reason not to just leave it open. I'm just closing it because my computer's not actually good enough to record and play the editor and play the Divinity Original Sin game all at the same time, and it'll start to stutter. Well, it turns out camera menu is not actually what named that camera. It's okay. Because the important thing is we've got level correctly working. See, we're Virgil. You see we start off with stench, cheese, drop the cheese on the gravestone. We grab the basket from God, clutch the key, we open the door, we make a break for the cave. Which, we should really take the door setting off of it. This... Oh, maybe that works now. Huh. Well... We have some mysteries to explore. But we did it! Woo! And in fact, we're gonna call that a day. Almost. Remember, there was that one plea from the wild where the guy was like, hey, instant dialogue. So we're gonna add a little bit of dialogue. Nothing too great, just a little bonus content. There's no real reason for you to stick around. You've done it. You've made a standalone module. If you wanted to publish it, you could just go to Publish Module. It would open up. Guy. We've tested it. We give it a little description. In fact, I guess we can, not publicly, but privately. We can say this is our standalone module we made about a skeleton locked in a church, gaping to a cave with a key he found in a basket by placing cheese. We can actually publish that, and it's uploaded to Steam. It says it's finished, and in fact, go to Steam. We open up Steam Workshop, browse our workshop files. You can see, voila, our standalone tutorial is there, waiting for us to add pictures to it and to make it public. That's not what we came here for. What we came here for was to add dialogue. We're just going to drop in a friendly NPC, kind of friend that a burning skeleton would have. That's a dog. Zombie dog, I guess. And of course, Virgil's best friend, Dante. We're going to name him Dante here, and we are going to name him Dante over here, too. Even though I don't actually know if... Yeah, I'm probably not going to make this guy global, so he doesn't actually need a name. But, you know, you should name him anyway. And to make dialogue, we go keyword editor. Note the translated, quick note, the translated string key editor is for like books and stuff. The keyword editor is for dialogue. We'll make new dialogue. And we're just going to make this big. We're going to add, oh, this is how you add a node. We're going to add a node. And there's some like global node stuff, and there's all sorts of like, I think there's some default stuff designed to make all this easier and like work. But I'm not really a, like, I don't know, I don't really like the Skyrim / Ultima keyword system. I'm more of a dialogue tree sort of person, so I tend to make my dialogues in a more dialogue tree sort of fashion. So, there was a so to that statement. So I don't end up using the default stuff that much, but you should. Don't be like me. So we're going to make a node, and the important thing is we're going to click this node to show it start, so that it shows it start. I think hello, how are you? Woof. We're going to save this as zombie dog dialogue. And we're going to see what that does. And that's the fun part of modding, is you never exactly know quite what something is going to do. Zombie dog dialogue. And that's when you mod in very small chunks, tiny modifications, until you feel more confident what you're doing. And as you feel more and more confident, you can make larger and larger. So we can see that the hello is what we're saying. And the woof is what Dante is saying. And the how are you, hello, how are you, is just totally not actually doing anything at all. Now we just load our dialogue back up. Oh, that's because I typed in actions. Don't type things in actions. That's for actions. That's not for dialogue at all. Hello. How are you, my faithful and only friend? And we can say something like, I tire of this grim existence, Virgil. I tire of century after century of grim... already used of century after century of unlife. I will remain here. You go on ahead. That's how Dante, your zombie dog, talks. He's a bit overdramatic. And we're going to uncheck in dialogue. I'm going to make a new node. Come with me. Or fine. Be that way. We're going to just add Separate this out into two little nodes, because we can. And we're going to show. We're going to push find be that way, and come with me. Now, this is obviously not very keyword oriented. This is more like I'm making like a dialogue tree. See, by default, it wants to be like, well, what if you want to go back in the dialogue tree? But it's like, nah, son. You can't go back in dialogue trees. You make choices and go forward. It's like the Indy 500. You only go forward. There is no going back. And we're going to check both of these. And if you say find be that way, Dante says, I will miss you, friend. The dialogue ends. And if he says come with me, it says no. We must part paths here, I'm afraid. And it also ends dialogue. And we just save. Open it up again. Hello. How are you, my faithful? Oh. Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. I tire of this grim existence. Fine. Be that way. I will miss you. Come with me. No. We must part paths here. There we have it. And in fact, we want just a tiny bit more dialogue. No, that's too much. Well, I'll save that for the dialogue tutorial stuff. Anyway, there we have it, a little standalone module. Hopefully that helps someone out there. Good luck. You decide to mod this game, good luck. A lot of people say modding is easy and fun, and I suppose it can be fun, but I'm not sure if I would decide. You'll have to like make up your own opinion on whether what you've seen here fits your definition of ease. Alright. And with that, I think we're done.